I was going to make a ton of money in this house. And I had it fixed up, and it was a rent house. And then I flipped it and I fixed it, and I was going to sell it. And it got vandalized, and they tore everything out in the house. And I was like, great. And I said, you know what? I have enough skin in this game that I can fix it again, and I will still make money. I was like screw you. I'm going to fix this and still make money. Fixed it up, had it going again. Guess what? A day before, somebody wanted to buy it. A day before it closed, they vandalized it again.
All right, Sasha, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, Ross. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, brother. It's a pleasure to have you here. Really excited to have you as a guest, man. We go back a couple years now, right?
Quite a few. I always followed you and watched you grow and get better and better. And so it's a pleasure being here with you.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much. Sasha, you're up to a lot of things in 2020, right? I mean, you're a serial entrepreneur. You're in real estate. You're an investor. You're buying and selling property. You own a brokerage, a media company. I mean, you're just doing so many things, man. And I really think it's incredible. How did you get to where you are today? Like, let's go way back and start off with like when did you decide, like, okay, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, I'm gonna go out there on my own, and I'm gonna start making things happen?
Right. So there's a story. I was born in Queens, New York, right? But my parents are from Brazil. So when I was about 2 years old, we went back to Brazil, and I lived there from 2 until I was about 12. And I think my first entrepreneurial concept was when I was growing up in Brazil. And I was up to no good at the time. And that's one of the reasons. Kind of like Will Smith, he's had to go live with his auntie in Bel Air. That's why I had to come to the United States. I had to go live with my auntie in Friendswood. So I was the oldest of all the cousins in Brazil. And we used to get into a lot of trouble. And one of the things that I had figured out is that there was an arcade. And in Brazil, they don't have quarters. They had these coins, slotted coins for the arcades. So I figured out that I could make a mold for those coins. And I could run around the street with my cousins and actually steal the weights from car tires and then melt them and put them into the mold and make coins and sell them. So all the kids, instead of buying them for a quarter, they bought it for 10 cents for me, right? So we made a ton of them. And then I used to go to the store and buy candy for my cousins and buy action figures. We loved G.I. Joes. So that was our G.I. Joe money. So that was my first entrepreneurial concept in Brazil. But needless to say, I got into a lot of trouble for doing stuff like that. And then my parents sent me to come live with my aunt here in the United States.
Wait, so when you say car weights, what piece are we talking about specifically?
So on the tire, there's a little piece of metal that actually balances the tire.
Okay.
So a lot of times when you get your tire balanced, there's a little metal there. And I used to cut that out, break that off and melt it. And then put it into the mold.
Would you just throw it in some fire and it would melt? Like,
oh yeah. We
really?
made a bonfire. And then we had the little mold in there, and then we had like this bucket full of metal, and we poured it in the mold. And by the end of the day, we had a ton of coins. Little arcade coins.
So and the machines at the arcade would take these homemade coins that you made?
Oh yeah. So I literally made a mold for it. I had the right side of the coin, the left side of the coin in this mold, closed it up, poured the metal into it, and then opened the thing, and I had a perfect coin there.
Holy smokes, man. That's a pretty smart idea. And how old were you at the time?
I was probably 10, 11 years old. Yeah. It
You
got
don't
me
see
into enough
too many
trouble.
10-year-olds coming up with ideas like that.
Hey, That's what happens when you don't live in the United States. You're surprised, what kind of stuff you do out in the streets.
Wow, man. And
So
what were these arcade? Did these arcade owners catch on that they were getting like fake coins or?
that's part of the reason why I had to come to the United States. We were banned from the arcade.
Oh my goodness, man. Wow.
Yeah, I
Now,
got a lot of trouble.
what part of Brazil were you living in?
So I lived in a city called Brasilia. That's the capital of Brazil, right?
Right.
And we have family all over Brazil. We have family in Rio. Right now we own a apartment on Barra da Tijuca, which is a great beachfront place there. That's in Rio. But we lived in a capital at the time, which is Brasilia.
Mm.
And then
I've heard some things about Rio. I've heard
it's
some
nice.
things. I heard it's nice, but I don't know if this is true or not. But I heard as a tourist, you have to be careful out there.
Well, so I kid you not. When I fly to Brazil, I take off my watch, I take off my rings, and I literally change into flip flops in the airplane because when I land, I want them to look and say, "Yep, that's a Brazilian."
Really?
And if you show up there and you have an Apple Watch and you have your camera hanging out from it, oh yeah, they'll come get you. They'll rob you.
Like at the airport, people are looking for tourists, and
At the beach, at the airport, they'll
wow,
see you a mile away. You have to be careful. You have to know who you're with while you're down there.
wow.
Yeah.
And that's coming from somebody that lived there. If you doing that,
Yeah.
tourists definitely have to be doing that.
No, I don't show up there looking like a tourist. That's for sure.
Wow. Yeah, man. It's always interesting to me to hear about like life in other countries, and here in the States, obviously we have our areas where you have to be, careful, but generally speaking, like you can pretty much go anywhere wearing a watch. Like you don't have to be worried about
No.
somebody, mugging you for your Apple Watch. I mean, it's just
Oh yeah.
we get spoiled here in the States. I feel like our life, it's like a
Different.
bubble, right? Like
Hey, they just recently got like Coke machines, like vending machines. That's like non-existent there.
no kidding.
So yeah, we get used to a lot of things here that just not existent there.
Wow, man. So you're born in Queens, right?
Yes,
So you got New York in your blood. I like
I
that.
do. So I'm Brazilian and Italian, and well, I'm a mutt. So yeah, I definitely got the Italian, the Queens, and the New York thing in me too. But
Hey, that's some good
but I
cuisine right
got to
there.
I moved to Brazil and I got to Texas as soon as I could.
Wow.
I definitely
So
consider myself a Texan.
you got in trouble and you kind
Yeah.
of got like deported to the
Yep.
States. Uh, what happened? Like you did were like was there like police involved, or was it like your family
Yeah.
involved?
So in Brazil, it's different, right? They come after you, you get in trouble, they want to take you in, and then your parents are like, okay, he's done. And they just basically told the guy he's going to go live with his aunt in the United States, and that was the end of it. So the guy
Really?
said, okay, as long as I never see him again. Otherwise, they would have shot me. Basically, what?
Oh my god! Wow,
Hey,
that's a little extreme.
it's a third world country.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, let's just say I bought a lot of GI Joe with the money that I made. I bought a lot of candy. Me and my cousins were well off. We had a little
Wow.
gang, and we were well off.
Wow, man.
And
That's
but that was like
that's crazy.
that was my first entrepreneurial concept. It wasn't good. I don't recommend anybody to do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
and
know.
then
They call it the favelas over there, right? Is that that's
they
the word?
call it the favelas. Yeah.
favelas.
You ever watch that movie, The City of Gods?
And I haven't.
Okay, watch that if you get a chance. It's all about the favelas in the early days coming up, and you're gonna have to read the subtitles and everything, but you get a great idea as to how the drug world got brought up from the favelas into Rio. It's all about Rio de Janeiro. You'll like it. It's good.
Really? I got it. City
Yeah.
of Gods. I check
Yeah.
that out. So,
Yeah.
12 years old, pretty much
Yep.
getting kicked out of what you know to
Yep.
move to the States, to Texas. Like, what were you
Texas. So I
thinking?
grew up in
Like, I'm moving to
Friendswood.
Texas. What's going on here?
Hey, I thought of Dallas. That's all I knew. Like JR with the big hat, cows everywhere. That's all. That's what Brazilians think what Texas is.
Right.
So I show up here. My aunt's in Friendswood. That's where I grew up. And I was like one of the few brown kids. Friends was mostly white at the time. I think it still is. And I show up there and I could hardly speak English, right? I knew a word here and there, but to be honest, they took me in. I had a fun childhood there, stayed out of trouble, right out of high school. The only thing is college, right? So I didn't know anything about college. My aunt is, she was a nurse and stuff like that, but she didn't know how to guide me through college. So I didn't know what to do. All my friends were going to college, and I'm like, what is this thing? So I met somebody that started talking about the military. And I'm like, okay, I can do the military. So I went in and I took the test and I passed it easily. And right out of high school, I ended up going to the Air Force. And
that's awesome, man.
Right.
So I wanna just touch on something you just said real quick. You didn't speak English when you came to the States.
So I knew cuss words. That's the first thing they taught me.
I mean, that can only get you so far, right?
Right.
Maybe in an argument,
Yeah.
but I mean, I couldn't imagine, what that's like. Here you are in this new country, to
Yeah.
you, right? And you don't speak English. So were you in school, like you had to go to ESL classes and stuff like that, where they
Yeah,
taught you?
absolutely. So,
Yeah.
and that's what I liked about Friendswood. Although, I was one of the few brown kids there. They took me in. They took me to special classes to teach me English. I had a teacher that taught me how to speak English. The kids were like, they used to come around me just to teach me how to talk, and say stuff. Most of it bad, but it was fun. They said, hey, go say this to the teacher.
Yeah.
And I go say that to the teacher. And the teacher knew that the kids put me up to it. But hey, it helped me.
Wow.
But,
so you learned you learned English, right?
Yeah,
so I'm sure
learned
that
English.
made you a lot more comfortable being,
Yeah, and kids, as a kid, you soak that stuff up. You put an 11, 12-year-old kid in the middle of a bunch of other kids, and I've never been shy. So I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. I'll get it. And picked it up. By the time I finished high school, my English still wasn't great. I had a real thick accent. I still do a little bit. But in the military, I worked on airplanes. So I literally ended up working on this huge B-52 airplane. So funny story is when I got in, I said, I scored really well on the test. And they said, you can do whatever you want. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. And the guy says, why don't you work on the B-52s? And I go, what's that? And they said, that's the biggest, baddest plane in the Air Force. I'm like, sign me up, I'm in, right? And they says, okay, where do you want to be stationed? And I go, I want Hawaii, I want overseas somewhere cool, I want somewhere on the beach. And they said, okay, just write it down. Little did I know that the B-52s, they only have them in two places, North Dakota and Barksdale. So it's either hot as hell, Barksdale, Louisiana, or in North Dakota, where I literally seen 100 below zero. So I ended up in North Dakota. So how do you think a boy that grew up in Brazil, then Houston, Texas, and you put him in North Dakota working on B-52s, where 9 to 10 months of the year, it's freezing.
It's a
So
little bit,
yeah.
little bit different climate over there, man.
A little bit different. But
So, Sasha, so you joined the Air Force, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when anybody joins the military, I mean, that's a huge commitment, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
what was were you doing it for income or like some type of fulfillment? Like, what was your real reason for wanting to enlist and pretty much serve the United States? Like, that's a huge
Right.
deal.
It is. I wish I could just say something really noble, but the honest truth is, I didn't know what else to do. I had friends going to college. I didn't know even how to apply for college, right? And I worked at a restaurant as a waiter for about 6 months before I joined the military. And I had a ton of fun, picking up girls, drinking, partying till 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, ooh, this is not good. And it wasn't good because some of the guys that had been doing that, they had been doing that for 10 years plus. Some of those waiters were like career waiters. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Right. So I said, I'm going to go do something. I'm going to learn something. I can't stay around here. So boom, I joined the Air Force, passed, and I went. And I knew that I would learn something. I would get, somebody would mentor me. I knew that. And in the first 2 years, I had to learn everything about that airplane, right? I had to know in and out. I had to learn the hydraulics. I had to learn the wings. My name was on the side of that airplane. It was my airplane. So different pilots flew it, but I was with the airplane every single time. If that airplane went somewhere, sometimes I got to go with it. Well, a lot of times I got to, because it was my name. So we landed, I worked on it. If the radars needed to be fixed, if there's missiles to be installed, they had to come through me first. I learned everything, which was kind of cool. And
Wow.
here's the cool thing. I love to draw and I love to paint and I learned how to do nose art, right? So I talked the wing commander into letting me paint the nose art on the airplanes. You know what nose art is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, like the girls sitting on the bombs and stuff like
yeah.
that. I started showing them that I could do it. And I says, hey, when an airplane goes inside of the hangar, to be honest, I wanted to get out of the cold. I was like, screw being out in the cold. Let me go in the hangar. So I'd stay in that hangar for about a week, painting the nose art on the airplane. And then everybody's, oh, this looks great. So I always found myself just putting myself in a position where it didn't suck that bad.
Mm.
And I ended up painting the nose art for most of the airplanes at the base, which was kind of cool.
That's awesome, man. I,
Yeah.
that's why I'm so happy we're doing this, man, because I would never knew that about you, right? Dude, so I've been up close with a B-52 and
Yeah.
at Ellington at the annual
Yeah.
air show. I go every year to I've been to a lot of air shows before. I know you're in the Air Force, so you've been up close and personal more than anyone. But dude, that's one of the best air shows, if not the best air show I've ever been to. I
I
think
love when they do the
it's
flyby.
because the runway's right there. Like if you go to the ones at the beach, you don't get to see the takeoffs.
No.
Dude, that B-52, man, for the listeners out there that have never been up close, that's a monster.
It's
That
a
thing
monster.
is a
8 engines.
beast. 8
Yeah.
engines.
8 engines. Do you know that both wings, they're fuel tanks? The entire wing's a fuel tank.
No kidding.
So if you transfer fuel from one area to the other, sometimes you have to be careful because you have to balance it. And
Ah,
there's actually a gun in the back of the B-52. Back in the day, they had somebody that had to climb all the way to the back and mend the gun. Pretty
really?
crazy. Yeah.
I had no idea. I've seen
So,
videos on YouTube of carpet bombings with dust.
dude, they can lay about a mile worth of bombs down. It's ridiculous.
So what was your main role? Like were you working on the engines? Were you like servicing the planes? Like what was your main
Right.
day-to-day job?
So I was a crew chief. Okay, that was my title. I literally owned a plane. It had my name on it, and I had to make sure that plane was operational to take off every
Mm,
time somebody needed to go off on a mission. So I had to pre-flight it. I had to make sure the specialists worked on the specialized part. I had to make sure tires were taken care of. I had to make sure engines were taken care of. If the engine had to be replaced, I was there replacing engines with the specialist. I literally did. I had to know a little bit of everything
mm.
about that plane, right? So it was kind of neat. And it really, I went from not knowing anything in high school, what I wanted to do. I mean, I barely made it through high school, right? I barely could speak English, to really focusing on studying and learning things. And it would be nice to say I had some great mentors, but I really didn't have great mentors in the military either. It was just more of a drive to learn. And
Mm.
then once I got out of the military, by the way, I met my wife in the military, right? And we got married there, and we've been together ever since.
Mm.
But once I got out, I had a friend here. His name's Earl. Everybody has a friend named Earl.
I wish I had a friend named Earl.
And Earl worked for this technology company. And he says, hey, we have our annual technology show. Why don't you come out? And I said, hey, just got out of the military. Oh, by the way, Earl was one of the kids that used to teach me cuss words when I first moved to the United States. She was my neighbor. So, throughout the military, everything, kept track of Earl. And now I was after high school, 4 or 5 years later, or after the military, and Earl's working at this technology company. And he's like, hey, we have our annual technology showcase. Come check it out. And I says, cool, man. I've been out looking for work all day long. I made a mission out of find work. I wanted to get out of the military and find a job, a job. That's all I knew, right? And I also knew that I didn't want to work outside. For the last 4 years, I worked on airplanes, and I literally seen 100 below zero with wind chill during the winter. I mean, that's how cold. It's ridiculous. And then during the summer, I've seen 120 in that flight line where it's just like smoldering hot. So I knew I didn't want to work on airplanes. If anything I learned in the military is I don't want to work on airplanes outside. So I knew that. I also did some work for the squadron on their servers. I did the painting thing, and those I kind of like did a bunch of stuff. So I was trying to find an inside job. So I go meet Earl for his technology showcase. I meet his boss. He showed me around. Afterwards, we have some beers, and we're talking. He's getting to know me, and I told him all about the military. And he goes, "Hey, I've been thinking about starting a marketing department, and if you have some, I can see that you have some goals. I can see that you're driven, and I'll start you at the bottom. If you want, you have a job." I wasn't even looking for a job, and his name is David Lopez. Okay, that he was the boss. So David hired me while we're drinking beers that day. My first day looking for jobs in the military. I went to like 4 interviews. All of them sucked. I went drinking with Earl and David said, "Come back, you got a job." I stayed there for 11 years. Right. Wow. I worked at this company, Industrial Audio Video, for 11 years. And David helped me through so many different things. He said, "Start the marketing department. And what I want you to do is just promote everything that we do here." They installed commercial audio visual equipment in churches, schools, anything that was commercial. So then he starts sending me to schools to learn how to install the stuff, to learn how to sell the stuff. And one year I came back and he said, "Hey, I need to hire a sales guy." And he had a stack of resumes on his desk. And he goes, "I'm looking at all these guys and I don't like any of them." And then he looked at me, literally took the trash can, and he got all the resumes and he dumped it in the trash can. And he goes, "Guess what? You're now in sales." And I'm like, "David, I've never done sales in my life." He goes, "You're in sales." So I had a friend who's starting a sales training company at the time, Sandler Sales Training. And I says, "Okay, but you have to let me go through my buddy's class." He goes, "Okay." So I started going through sales, start learning. That first year, I was top 3 in sales and sold over $1 million worth of products.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
So that was my first, entrepreneurial thing, was in Brazil. Learning how to do sales was with Industrial Audio Video. And then a cool thing is, you probably know Chris Blaney used to work at Lifestyles Unlimited.
Okay.
And,
I'm not familiar with him, but maybe by face, but go ahead.
So Chris used to run their video department, okay? And Chris also bought radio commercials for Dell and all those guys at Lifestyles. And he just kind of like did everything in the background. He was like their master marketing and video and radio guy. He's on the radio right now here in Houston. So Chris calls me and he goes, "Hey, I need a bid for you to install this audiovisual equipment here at Lifestyles, because we want to do these seminars and we're moving." That's when they first moved over there by 610 by the Beltway.
Yeah,
right
at the Westheimer location.
Westheimer and Beltway.
Yeah.
So I went in and I put a proposal together for him, and I installed the curtain, I installed the projectors and the cameras, everything that they have in that room. We installed it, and I became friends with Chris. And then I had to be there to make sure everything worked. And the more I listened, I was like, wow, this stuff makes sense. And I was like, you know what? This stuff, it really resonated with me. So long story short, I had been at IAV, the commercial audiovisual company, for a little over 11 years, and I had a little 401k saved up. I got rid of that 401k, cashed it in. Again, a lot of people don't recommend you do that. And I started following what they were teaching at Lifestyles, and I bought 4 houses. 4 rent houses.
Okay, so for the listeners out there that aren't familiar with the Houston real estate community, so can you explain what Lifestyles is?
All right, thank you. I think I probably went ahead there. So Lifestyles is a place where they teach you how to invest in real estate, right? They teach you how to buy rent houses as an investment, and they teach you how to buy apartment complexes as well. So that was my first company that I got involved with. I was like, okay, I was installing all their equipment so they could teach people how to do it. And the longer I sat there, the more interested I got it. And Steve Davis, he's partners with Dell at the time. And
Yeah.
I just sat there and I listened and I listened. And I really resonated with him. And it's like he was talking to me.
So
And I'm
I've
like,
been
okay,
to Lifestyles before, like multiple times.
yes,
And they have a sick setup. I had no idea that you're the one that installed that stuff.
yep,
Their studio is, I mean, that's top notch. Like,
it's awesome.
it's a good setup, man. Like the lights, the stage, like that whole room is just nice. It's awesome.
Yep.
You could do
Yep.
like a
I don't know how
TV
much
show
they
in there.
changed it, but we did the initial setup.
Wow, that's awesome, man. So
Yep.
you're doing sales, you're doing audio and video installations out of the military at this company for 11 years. You get
Yep.
a gig to go install equipment and then manage it at a real estate club.
Yep.
You're not a real estate investor at this time. You probably didn't even think about real estate or consider real estate as a opportunity. And now all of a sudden you're buying 4 houses.
That's right.
Wow, man. Talk about a door opening. Holy smokes.
Yep.
Wow.
So,
that's awesome, man.
yeah, I mean, Steve Davis is not he's not a friend of mine, right? I don't hang out with him, and he's not somebody that I can call on and say, hey, Steve, what's up? But I can say that man changed my life, right? And so I mean, we're friends on Facebook, but you have a million friends on Facebook that you're really not friends with. But I've texted him and I said, hey, thank you. So it changed my life. And after that, I kept on buying houses, right? So we flipping. Then I started getting into flipping.
Now,
and
were these rental properties?
I bought 4 rental properties.
Now, when you were buying these properties, were they helping you buy these deals, or were you finding these deals on your own, or what did that look like?
Great question. So what I did is when I cashed in that 401k, they have a program called PIG, and I became a PIG. And because this program, actually, they had real estate agents, and I don't know how they do it anymore because I'm no longer there, but they actually had agents that used to send you deals after deals. And then you'd go in and you say, okay, I want this deal. And you went in and they went over the deal with you. You showed them how much money you had. They would literally spoon feed you every step of the way. That's the only way I could have done it because I didn't know anything. I just had money sitting there from that 401k I just cashed. And everybody told me I was crazy because, when you cash a 401k, you pay a penalty. But guess what? That was mid 2009. The market has just crashing. And my houses, I bought them dirt cheap, and I still have some of them. They probably went up. I bought them for 100,000. They're probably worth 200,000 now. So that 401k that would have soon, before I cashed, to become a 201k, bought me 4 houses that have made me at least 5 times what that 401k was worth at the time. So no regrets there.
Wow. Now, you said that people were calling you crazy for cashing the 401 and buying houses. How did that make you feel?
Well, so the thing about real estate investing, if you do it right, it's not gambling. Now, the stock market is gambling, right? Because it's all about if the stock market goes down and then you buy low and you hope it goes up. Real estate, dude, you have years of proven when the prices will go down, you can see what the rents go for, what the houses in the area are selling for. It's all there. There's like zero guessing. If it's going to grow 5, 3, or 2%, and if you can raise your rents, every year or not, it's all there for you. So if you cash out and you had $50,000, I learned hard money. Does anybody even know what that is? I had no idea what a hard money loan was, and I leveraged the crap out of it, right? I was using other people's money to buy those houses. I just had that money sitting in the bank, and I kept on leveraging the hard money over and over and over, and I kept on buying houses. All
Mm.
you had to do was have 6 months of cash flow for each house in the bank. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay, we can do this.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, man. It's an incredible strategy. Like,
yeah.
I feel like if more people knew just how simple cash flowing real estate is, more people would do it. Because the common narrative is, well, I can't buy real estate because I don't have $500,000 in my bank account to just go buy houses.
No.
Without even doing their own research and finding out that there are companies that will literally pay for you to go buy houses, and then you can refinance those houses and essentially be in some deals for very little to any money out of your own pocket, yet you're still
Dude,
cash flowing.
no BS. I got paid to buy one of those houses.
Yeah. No, I believe
I
it.
Dude, so I bought a house so well that after I borrowed the hard money, I fixed it up, and when I refinanced the house on a 30-year loan, they gave me $2,000 cash.
You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. I think the toughest part about real estate investing is finding the deal.
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts on that are. But you
Yeah.
and I both know the money's the easy part. It's finding quality deals in a sea of freaking sharks that all
Right.
want good deals also.
Well, in the Houston real estate, like the real estate market, there's a lot of sharks in the water, right? Everybody wants a deal. And I think you do a great job teaching people how to market for deals, right? And how to send out the letters or put the signs up. There's a million ways. You decide how you want to do it. But finding the right deal, because that's the only time you make money is when you buy it. If you
Mm.
don't buy it right, don't expect to make money. That's all there is to it. If you don't buy it right, don't expect to make money because it's not going to cash flow. And if it doesn't cash flow, well, you had says it right there. You must have cash flow.
That's powerful, man. Yeah, cash flow is like the best way to make money, right? Especially
Right.
like throughout this pandemic, right? Like if there's anything learned, like I think one of the biggest takeaways here, other than obviously health, but on the financial side is you have to be prepared for a rainy day, right?
Right.
And a lot of people are getting smoked right now, completely blindsided. I think it's terrible. Businesses going out left and right. They didn't have enough capital in the bank to, weather a storm. Maybe they were running on very thin margins. They didn't have enough, liquid cash to stay afloat, or, I feel like not enough people were prepared. I mean, we didn't see this coming. But if there's any
No,
takeaway, it's you have to be prepared. And cash flow, especially like indestructible cash flow in the real estate side, is one of those strategies that you can use to ensure that even if you have a bad month at your job or your small business part-time hustle, you still have cash flow coming in regardless.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm glad you bring this up. So part of people telling me I'm crazy is I cashed in my 401k, and because I was running the marketing department for that company, and then I was in sales, so I knew how to sell and I knew how to market, right? That's all you need. If you can sell and you can market, you can run anything. So I decided to quit. And my buddy that was teaching me how to sell, he had a sales company. He says, you need to go work for yourself because you're never going to be happy if you keep on working for somebody else, And I said, you're right. So I started a little marketing company called the Media Heroes at the time. I just thought it was a cool name, Media Heroes. I'm like, into when I was a kid, I used to read comic books and the Air Force type of thing. I said, all right, the Media Heroes. And one of my friends, a dentist, got him as a client. And then I turned on my resignation and didn't burn any bridges. The company that I quit became my biggest client. So I did all their marketing while I was doing the Media Heroes.
No
The
kidding.
Media Heroes has been around since 2010. And then got some partners, hustled, grew it. We're still doing business, joined the Rotary and got clients through that, got involved in the community. The more you give, the more you get back. I totally believe that.
Mm.
We helped build a homeless veteran shelter in Rotary, promoted it through the Media Heroes, got involved with the Lombardi Awards 1 year. That was awesome. And then joined the Pearland Chamber of Commerce here in Pearland, gotten the board, been doing that for years now, got involved in the community, the Lions Club, everything else that I could get my hand on, I get involved with. The more I help people, the more you get to be known. So doing marketing and real estate, that's all I started doing it. But then recently, last 2 years, I'm like, you know what's missing? Financial education. Because if I'm in business, I need to know financial education. I need to know how to keep my money going. Just cash flow is great, but if I don't know how to manage it and how to protect myself, so I got involved with this company called WFG. And WFG is this huge American company, and it's USA and Canada. And their whole concept is they have a whole site on education called WSB, World System Builders. And they teach you, and they have seminars on cash flow, and they have seminars on making sure you have 3 to 6 months of cash built up. They have insurance seminars, everything, life insurance, just to teach you how to protect yourself, your family, and just grow your money. And I'm like, okay, there it is. Real estate, marketing, and financial education. That's my three. Boom. And we just keep on growing. And right now we have 8 real estate, not real estate agents, 8 insurance agents working with us. Each one of them grow. It's like growing their own company. We keep on growing that. And my goal with that in the next 5 years is to make at least $500,000 a year with just the financial education / insurance company. So it's going to be amazing on top of all the real estate stuff that we're doing.
Big goals, man. I love it.
Yeah. Can't have little goals.
You're absolutely right. You know, Sasha, everything seems like it's going amazing for you and always has been. But we know that as entrepreneurs, that's not always the case, right? I mean, entrepreneurship is like a freaking roller coaster, man. So
yeah,
I want to ask you, what do you think is one of the most challenging times that you've had to go through as an entrepreneur?
Totally. So as an entrepreneur, you are alone a lot, right? I mean, if you don't have a team or a huge team, even when you do, you have to make decisions. And you have to keep the train going. You got to keep this thing moving, right? You got to keep putting the fire in the furnace. It's you. And sometimes bad things happen, and you're not like, I had a house that this was super challenging. I was gonna make a ton of money in this house, and I had it fixed up, and it was a rent house, and then I flipped it and I fixed it, and I was gonna sell it, and they got vandalized, and they tore everything out in the house. And I was like, great. And I said, you know what? I have enough skin in this game that I can fix it again, and I will still make money. I was like, screw you. I'm gonna fix this and still make money. Fixed it up, had it going again. Guess what? A day before, somebody wanted to buy it. A day before it closed, they vandalized it again, destroyed it.
What the heck?
Yeah. And I know you and I talked about maybe some neighbors from a house that you had before. Like, I think that this is the same concept. I think people in the neighborhood were watching me, and man, they just took the air out of my balloon, right? I mean, they just kept on messing with me, messing with the house, and the cops came out there. And so this happened twice. And eventually I just turned around and I sold the house to another investor and broke even. So didn't make any money, but I didn't lose a ton of money either. But I had a ton of money I was going to make on that house. So yeah, deflated my sale, took the wind out of my sale. But
did they catch the people who did it?
Never caught it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand people, man. I've been vandalized before also. I mean, I'm sure every real estate investor has, because you know, they're prime targets, you know. Vacant houses, new stuff. Man, I can never understand why somebody would do such harm to another human. Like, why would you do that? You know?
And I think it's because you and I work in real estate. investors, entrepreneurs in general, we work really hard, and we work hard because we want to provide for our family. And if we have employees, we want to make sure that our employees, and I do have employees, so I want to make sure that the employees are provided for and their families are taken care of. We're always thinking about putting it out there, putting good things out to the world. And when somebody comes in just to destroy it, it blows my mind. It blows my mind.
It does.
But yeah, that's one of the instances, right? And then, the brokerage, for example, Grit Realty, my wife and I own it. Sometimes, it's in a low, like you said, it's like a roller coaster. And crazy enough, right now, in the midst of COVID, in the midst of this crazy recession, in July, we had done twice the business we did last year, this year. So
I was expecting you to say that, man, because the housing market is exploding right now.
Yeah.
Which is amazing to hear that you guys are doing well as well. I just read an article yesterday on Colorado's real estate market. It's booming. Like, people are buying houses out there left and right. I mean, even like locally in Houston, man, like these houses aren't lasting on the market more than a couple of days. And it's always, Houston's relatively a hot market all the time. But I mean, man, it's hot. People are buying.
Dude, I got people from California calling me all the time because of the insurance company. We're a national company. So I do Zoom calls every morning with all of our team members throughout the United States and Canada. So every morning we have about maybe 90 to 100 plus people in a Zoom call, just kind of debriefing on what's going on in our business. And because they know that I own a real estate company, I get multiple calls saying, hey, I think I want to move to Houston. So people from California want to know all the time, hey, how's the real estate market in Houston? Should I move to Houston?
Yeah. Texas is where it's at, man. It's just it's just exploding in growth. And
there's a reason why you're not in New York, buddy. I know that's where home is.
It's an outbound state, man. It's California is an outbound state. New York is an outbound state. New Jersey outbound. I mean, people are going to Texas, Carolinas, and Florida, right? So taxes are high. Politics are typically poor, not good, and it's just it's a mess. It's a mess, man. Yeah. But I'm really glad to hear that you're doing well, and I'm curious, Sasha, how are you able to manage so many different baskets at once, right? Because that is a very common topic in the entrepreneurial world. A lot of people get shiny coin syndrome. They want to build out 3 companies at a time. Then they want to go do this. Then they want to go do that. But you seem to be doing it successfully, where you're buying rentals, you're acting as a broker, right? With your own brokerage, you're doing insurance, you're doing the media stuff. How do you do it, man?
Right. So sometimes people say to me, Sasha, it seems like you're all over the place. And sometimes people don't know how to reach you or what to and what you do. They don't even know what you do. And I says, it makes a lot of sense. What I do is a perfect triangle, right? It's real estate, it's marketing, and financial education. So I need marketing. Let's put marketing on the top. I need marketing to promote my real estate. I also need marketing to promote the financial education. And I have the people that I can outsource to clients. So the Media Heroes is actually a really good company that I can make money from, because like right now, for example, I'm helping the adult education center here in Pearland, and we're doing a virtual event to raise money for the Red Hat lunch-on that we have every year. Because of COVID, we can't have an actual event. So we're doing a virtual event, and I'm helping them raise, our goal is $60,000, and they're paying me to help them, right? So I know the community, I know the players, I know the technology, and it's a passion, literacy. So people hire me to do stuff like that. Meanwhile, the Media Heroes is promoting our real estate, and it's promoting the financial education. So it's a perfect triangle. And I don't build my websites. I have programmers that I build to do the website. So it's all about pricing it out. So, and I make sure they're not programmers in India that I can't talk to my clients. They need to be able to talk to my clients, right? Because I can't do all of the coordination. So I have a project manager that goes out. He's a project manager in sales. He gets the piece out of it. And then I have the programmer. He gets a piece out of it. And sometimes they meet with clients, and I don't even meet with clients because I can't do everything. Like you just said, you just have to put the right people in place. You have to leverage them.
You're delegating.
And then the financial education, I have people in that class or in that group that they're making $40,000 a month helping people with financial products, with insurance. And I am the student by all means there. I'm still learning, and I'll get to that point. But if I have, because I'm working, let's say I'm flipping a house and I'm working with somebody that owns an AC company, and I know that the guy's about 60 years old and he's still climbing up and changing everything. And I'm talking about somebody specific that I know that's doing this for us. I'm actually giving you a live example. And I said, dude, why are you still, do you know you can't do this for another 10 years, right? What are you doing to retire? And he's like, well, I got money under the mattress. And I'm like, that money under the mattress, you're losing 3% on that every year because it's not doing anything. And he's like, really? And I explained to him, about inflation. I explained to him how to grow, how his money can grow tax-free, through different products. And he's like, really? And I said, yes. So, I put him together with my team there, and we make sure he gets the right product. I just helped him to retire wealthy, not just, as a businessman that has some money under his couch. So it's all about helping people and leveraging people, and it just works out. Sometimes it's great, sometimes there's lows, like you said, but it's the perfect triangle for me.
I love it, man. Yeah. Sasha, what would you say drives you every day? Like, what's your purpose? What is your why to do what you do?
Right. What's my why? A lot of people, when bad things happen, they get depressed and they get sad. And I think that when you are depressed and sad is because you're not helping enough people. So I think that if you're helping enough people, you don't have time to stay in your head. You don't have time to be upset about things. I mean, bad shit happens to me all the time. But if I sit there and I get upset about it, what is that going to do for me? So I think that if I do the right thing and I help enough people enough, and I just love the community that I live in. And I know it sounds a little cliche, but it's not. I can't stand still. And like, for example, somebody said, you don't sleep that much. And I said, I know. And they said, why can't you sleep that much? And I said, because my brain is going at 100 miles per hour all the time. I go to bed at midnight and I wake up like at 6 or 5:30, and I'm just like wide awake going, oh shit, I have to do this and I have to do that. And I'm like, I'm just going to get up.
No kidding. So you operate each day on 5 hours of sleep?
Dude, not every day. I can't lie and say every day, but I get about 6 on the average. And then maybe on a weekend, I'll get about 7, or once in a while 8. Yeah. But I typically about 6.
Wow. See, I need that full 8. I need that 8, man. I don't know, dude.
You need that 8?
I need that 8. Like 6, I'm hurting. Like I'll be okay for a few hours, but come afternoon, I'm hurting, man. I need that. I need a nap. I can't make it. But I think it's just because I'm not used to it, right? Like I'm a night owl kind of guy, basically.
See, I slow down at night. Like at about 10, I'm just like, okay, I'm still thinking, but I'm
running out of gas. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to go to bed about 11, 12. I'm done. Yeah.
Sasha, I'm curious to know, man, when it comes to enjoying yourself with your family and your personal life, do you allow yourself time to do hobbies and things you enjoy, or are you very strict and it's like, oh, work?
No. So my wife and I, we like to work out a lot. So at one time we joined a triathlon group, and we used to travel all over the place just doing little sprint triathlons. Or my son, my wife and I, we did Taekwondo together. So we're all red belts, right? Right below black belt. We need to get that one more.
No shit.
So we all did
You're
We all did
almost a
that
black
together.
belt.
One to go. Yeah, we're red belts.
Hey man, I don't want no problems, brother. I
No, man.
don't. That's all.
And,
That's awesome, man. Holy
and
smokes, I didn't know that.
my son did a bunch of tournaments, so we kind of, it was fun watching him as he was growing up. He's 15 now, so he doesn't want the tournaments anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but just doing stuff with the family. Once in a while, we go to the hill country, go hang out, at one of the resorts. My wife's from Ohio. We used to go hang out with her parents during the summer, here and there.
So you do
we
you
like
do
to,
let yourself enjoy
yeah, here and there.
non-working activities. Not too much, but
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yep.
It's a common topic, right? Work-life balance. Like some people just work like
Yeah.
Gary V. It's like you always need to be
Yeah.
working.
Yeah, I'm a little like that. I don't think there's no such thing as work-life balance. I think it is what you're comfortable with, and if it's too much work and things start stressing you out, just freaking get over it. Like if you don't like it, change it. I don't hate it. I love what I do.
And that's huge, man. You got to enjoy what you do. You have to. You have to, because if you don't enjoy it, you're probably not going to succeed at it, right? It's going to become like the things like you push away. So I think that's super important.
So here's another project. Talking about more balls in the air, right? My brother and I, and I'm about to let out a cat out of the bag here for you.
Exclusive.
This is a secret.
I
This
like
is a
it.
little secret.
I like it.
All right, here you go. So my brother is one of the top soccer coaches in the United States. He has the same qualifications as the Brazilian national coach and the Mexican national coach. He could actually teach an Olympic team or coach an Olympic team or during the World Cup and things like that. And he's been traveling to China and Brazil to put this project together. So we are buying some land here in Houston. I'm not saying where yet. And we're building this soccer facility. And we have the backing of some amazing soccer players in Brazil and maybe in China. And this facility is going to be like no other soccer facility that you've ever seen.
No kidding.
And it's going to be, part of it's covered. So because of COVID's changed some things. We're not going to have an indoor facility. It's going to be outdoor or covered. So that way you don't have to deal with the indoor issues. So COVID's actually helped us decide that it's a better business plan, safer business plan to not create an indoor facility out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
We are going to have, it's going to make a ton of money. It's going to promote soccer. And by the way, the World Cup is about to be in the United States coming up here soon.
Right.
And we're going to bring players from Brazil, from all over the world in Europe, and it's going to be awesome.
If there is a World Cup.
Come on.
What year is it planned for?
I think it's in the next 4 or 6 years? I'm not sure. Oh, no, 2 years. World Cup's coming up. What am I saying?
Let me see. USA.
USA World Cup.
Ah,
it's coming up.
2026.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
In the States. Oh, yep. Yeah. COVID. If COVID's not over by then, dude, I'm moving to Mars. I'm out. I'm out of here. Yeah.
You're getting in the rocket ship with Elon Musk.
I'm out.
Going to Mars.
I'm going to Mars, man. Forget it. Or the Maldives. Yeah. Man, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us, man. I can't
absolutely.
wait to,
so it's another real estate move.
Yeah.
And another business, kind of changing things around. So it's going to be fun.
Awesome, man. Sasha, for the listener out there right now that's tuned in, they've made it this far in the show, and they're wanting to get into their own business. They want to start something that has meaning to them, and maybe they're on the fence. They've tried some things before, but they haven't really found it and made it happen. What's your message to that person?
So there's two ways to think about it, right? One is a lot of people like to say, oh, do something that it's your passion. Dude, if your passion doesn't make any money, if it's basket weaving, you're not going to make any money in basket weaving. So I'm sorry. do not follow your passion if that's what it is.
Very true.
You have to be a little practical with that. I mean, some people, they make money with, being a freaking plumber, cleaning shit all day. That's not their passion. The passion is providing for their family. So my train of thought is, you have to, if your passion makes money, then you go with it. If it's not practical, then it's a hobby, and find something that you can get into. Get something that people that look at great examples. I'm sorry, I can't invent real estate, right? People like you, Steve Davis, all these people, they teach people how to do it and how to do it right. Find somebody who's done it right, follow it, and put your spin on it, whatever it is. And you don't have to do one thing. You can do multiple things. And using the internet now to make money, come on. You can buy socks from Alibaba or anything in China and pay 2 cents per socks, turn around and sell it on eBay for $1 each. Buy 1,000 of those and you make some money. Figure it out. There's ways to make money right now.
You're absolutely right, man. If Trump doesn't ban Alibaba from the States, that is. Because I heard some comments about that yesterday, and I was like, whoa, that's gonna affect a lot of people, because dude, the arbitrage system, it's so beautifully designed. Exactly what you just said. You buy low, you sell high. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's been done a million times, and it can all be digital, right? It could all be digital. So I think that's some great advice, man. Sasha, I ask every guest on the show the same question. I'd like to extend that to you, if that's okay.
Go for it.
In your entire life so far, what has been the best advice that you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received, I talked about David Lopez earlier, the guy that hired me.
Sure.
Right out of the military. And I worked for him for 11 years. I've never worked for anybody that long. He's the only guy I've ever worked for that long. And David was like a mentor to me. He was this guy from the island, this black guy from the islands. He was kind of cool, laid back, and he never, ever micromanaged me. For 11 years, he just says, go do this. And he came, said, come back to me and tell me after it's done. So if you ever get an opportunity to manage somebody or help somebody, just give them the end result and tell them to come back. Don't micromanage people. And that's it. I mean, trust people. I think the people are better than what we give them credit for. I think there's more good people than bad people.
I love it, brother. I love it.
Yeah.
And with that being said, Sasha, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story and so much value here on the Started Somewhere podcast, man. It's an absolute pleasure. I had so much fun. And let's stay connected, man.
All right. Thanks, Ross. Appreciate you.
Take care.